Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Tonight I'm going to show you how to cut up and marinate chicken. I got so many requests for me to do fried chicken. I didn't even know I had those many people out there that would actually want this particular type of video, but I'm going to do it. I think that this video is going to be played out in 3 parts. So tonight we're going to cut up the chicken and we're going to marinate the chicken. So let's get started. Now I am doing this mainly for my younger viewers because I know most of my old school viewers, they know how to cut up a chicken and how to marinate as well. So I'm just going to show you the parts of the chicken here. This is the wing, okay, and it's attached to the breast part. This is the breast here. This is the chicken leg, which I'm holding there, and what's connected to that is the thigh portion of the chicken. Okay, on the back of the chicken you have the upper back and the lower back, and the reason why I said upper and lower is because I cut that part in half. Here, which is a part that I don't use, I only use it if I'm making chicken stock, is the butt portion of the chicken. Now, I actually call this, and back in the day they called it the last part over the fence. So that part I normally cut off and just use, like I said, for chicken stock. So I'm going to show you a simple way to remember this, okay? It's not a hard thing to do. But a lot of people, when they cut chicken up and they fry chicken, they're like, what piece is that? What piece is this? And they can't remember which piece it is. So I'm going to show you how to remember it, okay? Here is a body. I'm going to use the anatomy of the human body. Here is a body similar to that chicken in parts and where parts are located. Okay, you have your arms, which is your wings. I'm going to cut this right here, which would give me a little bit of the breast meat onto the wing. Now, why am I doing it that way? Because I want the wing to have more meat on it. This is your breast. I'm going to split that down the middle. Here you have your upper back and your lower back. I'm going to cut those two in half, and then you have your thigh and your leg. Now what I'm going to do with those two pieces is I'm going to break them right where the joint is, right here. So I'm going to cut that in half as well, okay? So I just wanted to show you, and that's a very simple way for you to remember where the parts of the chicken is actually located. Now, for some of my viewers, especially my old school viewers, I got something for you. How many of you know what this was used for back in the day? Okay? Well, I would tell you, because we never took a road trip without having fried chicken and cake. And my mom used to put the fried chicken and the cake in the shoebox. It brings back fond memories, but that was the best fried chicken and that was the best cake I have ever eaten. So if you can remember your mom doing the same thing, putting fried chicken when you went on a road trip and cake in a shoebox, drop me a little line and let me know that I bring back memories for you. So we're going to get started on how to cut up this chicken. Be right back. Okay, now I'm back and we're going to get started on cutting up this chicken. I want to make certain I have my gloves on. But in the beginning of the video, I did have on a glove because there's cross-contamination with a chicken. The last thing that you want to do is to take your hands from a chicken and then put it on something else, some other meat or something else that's in your kitchen, because that will cause salmonella poisoning. So I try to stay away from that, okay? And I always wash my hands if I'm not using gloves when it comes to dealing with chicken. But I have powder inside of these gloves, okay? So these little marks that you see on my shirt, don't write me and say your shirt was dirty. No, these little marks that you see on my shirt, it was caused by me having the powder on my hands and then touching, trying to show you the body parts. So let's get started on this chicken. Now, you need a boning knife or you need a sharp knife if you have one. If you don't have a boning knife, then don't worry about it. Just use whatever knife you have and make this work. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut this wing from, I'm going to detach it from the breast. Now, I'm going to do this by going around this. I bend it backwards so I can see where that joint is. and I take it right off. Now, this gave me more meat on my wing than you would normally have. You see? I have more meat on that. Now, I'm going to take that. Now, some people, they clip off this little bit. Some people cut this in half. They do all kinds of tricks with chicken. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you don't have to. Now, this is really for my younger viewers because I know my old school viewers, they know how to do this. Cut it again. Don't be scared. If you don't know what that joint is, don't be scared to go up in there and look and see it and then go around it. Okay? Now, I've taken off the wings. Now, I'm going to take off the legs. Come down where the actual leg separates from the breast part. Now, if you can't see where it is, bend it, break it, so you can see that joint. And then take it apart. Okay, now when it comes to this leg portion, there's a joint right there. And I know how to hit it. But you may not. See, I went straight in and I hit it. If you don't be scared to lean it back and then break it. So you have the thigh and then you have the leg. Now, this one, because I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, there it is. I took it down. Now, this one, I'm just going to show you how you would do it if you're new at doing this. See where that little bone popped up in the joint? Just take it around and cut it out, okay? With this, you can mostly feel for it. If you can't feel for it, then break it. Take this down a little bit. Break it so you can see it. And then come across. Okay? That's that. Now, we're going to get to the breast portion of this bird, okay, or this chicken, okay? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to stand them up where the butt part here and the breast part are like adjacent each other. We're going to stand it up and we're going to come down, okay? Now, when we come down, we'll take it all off. Now, this is for the people that, want to save some money on cutting some chicken, getting some chicken. If you don't have problems with going out there spending that extra 12, 13, 14 cents per pound, then go and do it the other way. But this is a good skill for you to know how to actually cut up a chicken. Now, for this, we're going to cut this down the middle. Now, this is the hardest part. There's a little bone right there coming down the breastplate. Now, for me, I go in. Take my knife, okay, see, I just cut that loose. Then when I cut it loose, then I go ahead and separate. This is slippery, but I separate one part of the breast from the other. Now, a lot of people will use this whole piece and fry this whole piece up. I don't do that, okay? I cut mine in half, okay? And the reason why I cut it in half, because that's just a big portion of meat. So I go ahead and cut it in half. So now I have two pieces of the breast as opposed to having one. I'll do it again because we have that second part of the breast. Now, if you have a meat cleaver, it's just as better, but a boning knife is even, just as good when you're doing stuff like this. And I do sell the boning knives, on my site, and I think that the knives are less than $10. So if you don't have one, and it is sharp. It is very sharp. If you don't have one, you can go to my site and you can purchase one. But here, that's a portion of the breast. And that's another portion of the breast with the skin on. Now, with my back, I told you that I use some of it for a chicken stock. I never fried this part of the back. You want to do it, you can go ahead on and do it. I don't. I do clean this out when I'm getting ready to make chicken stock. Okay? So what I do with my backs, and you may do this a little bit differently, I break my back down. I don't leave it where it's kind of oval shaped in the skillet. I break it down. And then I taking it loose from the lower part of the chicken. Okay, I should have just whacked it. There. Okay, so this was my upper back. This is the lower part of the back. This part I will fry. This part I will put up for chicken stock. You can fry yours if you want. If you choose to do it, go ahead. But I'm going to put mine up for chicken stock. Okay, I've showed you how to cut up the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and wash this chicken. Then I'm going to show you how to marinate this chicken. There are several ways to cook chicken. I mean, there's more ways out of here to cook chicken than probably, you know, I mean, there's tomato juice in the store. That's how many different ways, and a variety of seasonings. I'm not trying to sell you on any seasonings, particular seasonings or way to season your chicken. I just got a lot of comments. I can cook my chicken and outside is pretty, but the inside is raw. You know, so I got a lot of comments. So I'm just here to try to show you something that may help you when you're frying chicken. So I'm going to go away and wash this and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're back and I'm getting ready to season the chicken. So here you have all of your parts, and I'll just show you, and you may see a little bit more parts than actually what I cut up, because I cut up 2 chickens, and I just, for the sake of time, I cut up one on camera and one off camera. Okay, now here's the seasonings that you're going to use, and I'm not trying to sell you on seasonings. This is just the way that I prepare my chicken. You're going to need seasonal. Now, the reason why you use seasonal is because if you don't know what to put on chicken, if you don't know what spices go with what, until you learn, you can just go ahead and use seasonal. Now, I use seasonal because I like it, and the type that I use is Morton. The reason why I use Morton is because it's not a high content of salt, and it makes your chicken taste very, very good, and I like it. Next, you're going to need paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and salt. Just a little bit of salt. You don't need a whole lot of it, and that's just to add to what's already in the seasonal. Now you see the spice sitting down here, which is thyme. So when I marinate with buttermilk, I do use thyme. So if you want to use it, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. Now what I did was, for the sake of time, instead of just sprinkling all of the chicken, I just put all of the seasonings, I blended them or mixed them well together. Now, it's a shorter time for your wings and your breast to cook than it is for your legs and your thighs to cook. So make certain when you're preparing the chicken that you put your frying pan, that's the way you do your frying pan. In other words, try to put your wings and your breast together when you're frying, after you coat your chicken and you're getting ready to fry, because it'll be less time for them to cook than actually trying to do your legs and your thighs. So if you don't know how much seasoning to put on chicken, put a generous amount. Now, don't coat it like you would with flour. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying make certain that you put a generous amount of seasonings on it. One other thing I want to show you, and I'll just go ahead and show you here. I took these wings off, the little clip in off, and I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors and just cut these 2 off as well. Now, if you want to use your knife in order to cut it off, just take it where the joint is. You can feel for the joint, and you know exactly where to actually cut it at, right where that joint is. Okay, one other thing I want to show you is when you get whole chickens, sometimes they come with a gizzard, with the liver, and with the neck, and sometimes they don't. My first chicken that I cut up in front of you, it didn't have it in it, but the second did. So I just washed this. I don't eat the liver portion. I just washed the gizzard, but I love the gizzard portion and the neck, and I just went ahead and washed those pieces just to show you. And they're normally inside of the chicken body. So you'll see a little plastic bag inside of there, and inside of that, that's where it would be. Now, if you look at this chicken, I've covered all of my pieces, okay? I can't tell you how much paprika and how much seasonal you would add, and the reason why I can't tell you that is because I don't know how many pieces of chicken you're actually going to use. So just make certain that all of your chicken is generously covered, and it's generously covered on both sides. Now, this is what I call generously covered. It's not coated like your flour, but that side is totally coated with some seasonings. Then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, some people cook chicken fast, and some people cook chicken slow. Some people cook it, you know, they wait and marinate it overnight. And some people just go ahead and fry it up in the skillet. And either way is fine with me, because I've cooked it all different ways. So that really doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter which side you season first. Whether you season the back side or the front side, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to show you, this is going to be like a 3-part video. This is the first part. And then the second part, I'm going to show you tomorrow in frying the chicken. And then the third part, I'm going to show you yet a different way to actually fry chicken. Now, if you look, I put seasonings on all pieces of my chicken. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in plastic bags. Now, because I know the parts, I'm just going to go ahead and just throw some pieces over in here. And it really don't really matter. That's one bag. And I have 3 bags because I'm going to show you 3 ways to actually marinate tonight. Okay? This is the second bag full. A couple more pieces in here. And I normally don't let the gizzard and the neck stay long. When I'm frying chicken, I'll just go ahead and eat them up. Okay, and this is the third part right here, or the third bag. Okay, now, and let me just clean up my workspace just a little bit. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to show you this chicken I'm going to prepare tomorrow. You can let your chicken, if you're going to marinate your chicken, you can let your chicken marinate 4, 6 hours or overnight. I'm going to let this marinate overnight. Now, how am I going to marinate this chicken? I'm going to step away for a minute. Now, the best way to marinate chicken is by using buttermilk. Now, a lot of people don't use the buttermilk because it has a tangy type taste to it. You can tell it just a little bit, and it's only because it's tangy. But this will make your chicken so moist, and it will make it so juicy, okay? That's buttermilk. So, I'm going to shake this up, and I'm going to pour buttermilk over this one that's in front of me. Now, this is the better way. Now, this is the better way to cook it, not necessarily the way I cook mine. But I've been frying chicken for so long. Now, I'm going to sit this in my refrigerator overnight. Okay? Now, that's one way. The second way is to use regular milk. Now, if you don't go in for that tangy type chicken, this milk will actually make it moist and just as tender. And I don't know if I said tender with buttermilk, but your chicken is really tenderized with that buttermilk. Pour a little bit. That's roughly about a cup. Now, this is your chicken in regular milk. Now, you're not going to use both of these techniques. You're only going to use one, and that's if you choose to marinate your chicken overnight. You can't just go ahead and fry it and not do it. But this buttermilk makes the best fried chicken because it's going to be moist and it's going to be tender. And then if you don't like the taste of the tangy, it's just a little taste. You probably, a lot of people probably don't even notice it. And I only notice it because I cook all the time. Whoops, making a mess over here. Okay, let me try to clean this up real quick. Okay, now, and that happens. I didn't seal up my bag, and I should have sealed it up. But we're not going to worry about that. Okay, now I have this over in here. Okay, so we have our buttermilk based chicken. I should have sealed it up better than that. We have our milk based chicken. clean up just a little bit more. And that happens in the best of kitchens. Alrighty. Now, in the third type chicken, I'm not going to marinate this chicken at all except for with the seasonings that I have on here. Okay? So I'm not going to let it sit overnight in milk or let it sit overnight in buttermilk. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, now you're not, again I say you're not going to cook all 3 different ways when you're frying chicken. You're going to cook either or. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in my refrigerator and I'm going to allow them to sit overnight, and what I will do is I'll bring you back tomorrow and we'll fry up this chicken. So this is the way we marinate and cut up chicken, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay, that's it for learning how to marinate and to cut up chicken. And as always, thank you for watching Chris Cook for YouTube. Bye.